everybody, this is DearMamaSal, and the word of today is progress. Hi everybody, this is DearMamaSal, and I'm just leaving the doctor's office, and this is the first time that I've been back to the doctor since the diabetes diagnosis. And I just want to tell you that I am actually quite surprised. As you all know, for those of you who are regular watchers, I have what can only be called as a very laid-back, difficult to impress type doctor. And I love him to bits. Because, he just calls it like it is and doesn't mess with things. He doesn't try and sweet talk things. He just very pragmatic, and I love that about him. Anyway, so quite honestly, I was quite pleased that I've done I know I've done some good things with a lot of help from the viewers and Jody and Lauren and everybody else that, encouraging me along the way. And also, I know that I've been testing myself regularly, so I tried to be as honest as I knew how. And I said, look, I do need to tell you that in the time that I've been testing since December, I did hit orange twice. And he goes, and what's orange? And I said, well, orange puts me in the pre-diabetic stage reading. And he said, because you ate something special that day. And I went, yeah. And he said, twice. And I said, well, I do try and control it. He said, twice is okay. If it's twice a day, we'd be worried. But, twice is okay. So and I went, oh, okay. And then I was showing him my weight loss. Now, for those of you who are broadcast viewers and have seen the graph, my weight loss goes like this, but it is, even though it's doing this, it is going down, but slowly. And I thought he was probably going to have some words about that, and he didn't. And that surprised me as well. And he did ask me about the two spikes that there were, and I said, well, that was the week I was away eating other people's food. And he went, well, that makes sense, doesn't it? You couldn't control that. And I went, yeah. And he said, what about this one here? And I said, well, I've started to sell my house. And the good news is I'm not smoking, but there's a fair amount of stress attached to it, as you probably know. And I'm finding it difficult to find the balance. And he said, but you took it under, I can see here that the next time you weighed yourself, you were totally under control again. And I said, yeah, but it takes a lot of effort. He said, but you're doing it. I said, yes. He said, well, you're doing the right things, obviously. He said, you can prove it to yourself. I said, well, I just want to make sure that you're okay with it. And he went, yeah, absolutely. And I said, now, I need to talk to you about the metformin. Now, for those of you who don't know, metformin is a drug that they give you if you're diabetic, which delays, if you take it, it will delay, they believe, the onset of needing to take insulin. And that's basically the bottom line on it. And I said to him, talk to me about this metformin again. I need to understand whether I should be taking it, because you use the words, it's difficult to convince you that you should be taking it when your numbers are the way that they are. So I said, I want to just talk about that again so I make sure I understand. And the bottom line was, he has difficulty convincing himself that I need metformin when my blood sugar is being kept so well under control. Jody, if you're listening to this, thank you. And Lauren, thank you. And for all of you who've given me input, thank you. Basically, what he says is, I'm doing great. He is impressed with, you see, and even though my weight is spiking on the way down, it is going down. which means that I have made a lifestyle change, not just a diet. You see, a diet would just, drop like this. What this spiking is that every now and then I lose a little bit of control, but I can get it back under control again. Now, quite honestly, and this is without doing exercise very much. So imagine what I could do if I actually did exercise as well. I've turned off that switch for now. But I believe that the 10-minute challenge will help me, and I'm going to go back and do a few more of those along the way. So the whole point that I want to make here is the progress is that he believes that I am diabetic. He doesn't need a second blood glucose thing to prove that. The load one, where they load you up with a stack of sugar to see how your body copes with it. He said, we already know what your body did with it, but nothing else is majorly wrong. What we're going to do is just keep testing you every 3 months to make sure you stay that way. And quite honestly, he said, you may never need to go on metformin, and you may never ever need insulin if you continue to do what you're doing right now. Well, that was pretty nice, wasn't it? So the point here is this. Did I make major changes? Yes, in some ways. I made major changes in terms of food portions. I am really aware of food portions. I made major changes in terms of trying to remember to balance protein against carbs. And so if I have a bad day, I try and make sure the following day I, work on the proteins a lot more. Maybe have an extra boiled egg, or maybe have, extra meat. Well, the other thing I found is that I really enjoy a meal with potatoes once a week. And for the rest of the week, I am inclined to grill vegetables. And I might put some sweet potato in with the vegetables, but, not very much. Maybe a quarter of a cup. So I am limiting the amount of starch that I was putting into my body. However, I also have dramatically reduced my intake of bread. Now, does that mean I don't have any bread? No. I assure you that I do have bread. I have Marmite on toast. I love my Marmite on toast occasionally. And I have French, what do you call it? Not French bread, but French toast. Where you soak the bread in egg. I have that probably once a week. But what I've learned is that sourdough is less damaging for me than regular bread. So I make my own sourdough bread now, and I don't feel guilty. And it works, obviously. Now, I really have to say that the progress in my view is that I believe I have already made the lifestyle change. I am aware that balance is really what it's about. It's not that you can't change, it's are you prepared to make the changes. And I did it baby steps, people. I didn't do dramatic things. And the other thing is, I am now increasing my liquid, not necessarily straight water. I'm now increasing my liquid in a way that works for me. I found out, for example, that a little bit of skim milk powder blended with some ice cubes, it is really a tasty treat. You know, so it's like a skim milkshake. And I have that with me when I'm working on the computer, and it really does help keep the liquids going. And what I do is I just top it up with ice cubes until I get back to almost straight water, and then I add a bit more milk powder to it, just to give it that little bit of taste. So it is progress. I am still working my way down, and I've still got a long way to go. But quite honestly, you can probably hear it in my voice, I am a little shocked that my doctor is happy. Now, I think anybody else would be going, yay, the doctor's happy. And I'm going, I have not been a good girl all the time, but my doctor's happy, which means what I'm doing is good enough. And as long as I keep doing what I'm doing, I don't have to take any other steps except to get checked out regularly. Pretty happy with that, people. So whatever it is for you, if you're trying to lose weight, if you're trying to do whatever, or if you're having to make a lifestyle change, as I have to do, remember that just making the small changes will lead to the big change. I have not done anything majorly dramatic. Really. I sort of am into a routine as to what I eat for breakfast and what I eat for lunch, and then I have one meal in the evening. And for example, this evening I'm going to be barbecuing some steak cubes, and I will barbecue some more fresh vegetables in olive oil and lime and a bit of soy sauce because it tastes so good. So there we go. So he said I need to do my next A1C now. Apparently I was meant to do it a month ago. I now have a standing order for 2 years to do it every 3 months. So I don't have to go back and get it. That's good. Impressive, huh? Surprising. Progress without really too many major changes. I think that's inspiring me. I'm still shaking my head going, I thought he was going to be not happy with my progress, that I hadn't lost enough weight or whatever, but what he said was he can see what I'm doing, and he can see where things, he said that would be quite normal if you weren't on a diet, if you were just making lifestyle changes. That's what it would do, because some days you'd have something that wasn't as good, and then the next day you compensate. And he's going, that's fine. You know what you're doing, and you're doing the right things. Get out of here. This is a very confused DearMamaSal saying, remember to look after one another, but please, most of all, look after yourself. And sometimes you do better than you think you do. Bye for now.